Hello and welcome to the Championship Roundup. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you will enjoy this video. If you do, make sure you hit the subscribe button, like the video as well if you enjoyed it. It really does help the channel out. But without further ado, let's get straight in to this week's Championship action. Some very surprising results this weekend. So first off, we go to the early kickoff, which was Leeds versus Brentford. Two sides that have done very well so far this season. Leeds obviously have been top for a very long time. Brentford have been in and around the playoffs. And it was Brentford who struck first. A foul on Ollie Watkins by Bailey Peacock-Farrell, and Neil Maupay scored the penalty. There's a lot of disappointment that this was given, but you have to feel that I feel that where the ref was probably looked a penalty to him. But yeah, I don't think it was a penalty on replay. But unfortunately, you don't have those sort of options. You can't see it again in the Championship. It's not they can't go and have a look at VAR or whatever. That doesn't happen. So he got to give his first call, and I feel like where he was, he did see a penalty. Neil Maupay scored and put them one up, and it looked like they were gonna hold on. Leeds were chucking everything at it. They brought on Baker, who caused a few problems. They brought on Clark as well, who for his debut I think it was, and he looked really good as well. I was really impressed with Clark. But right at the end, a free kick from Alioski, a needless free kick really, and it was Janssen that headed in to make it 1-1. Leeds definitely deserved a point here. I feel like a draw was a fair result. Brentford, they played really well. They probably deserved to take the lead, but after that, it was all Leeds, and I feel like a draw was a fair result for both. Luke Ayling was sent off for a second bookable offence. This leaves Leeds in third. 6 wins, 5 draws, 1 defeat, 9 goals conceded, 22 goals scored. I think that they'll be very happy in Yorkshire indeed. Brentford, they sit just outside the playoffs in 7th place. Just 1 defeat in their last 5 games, but no games won, 4 draws. And they come back against Bristol City at home. They'll be looking to get 3 points from that one for sure. But it's very interesting leading up to the coming back from the international break. Brentford need to start turning their draws into wins because they are a very good side, and they could certainly challenge for promotion this season. Next, we have Birmingham versus Rotherham, and Birmingham have one man to thank for this, and that was Lukas Jukovic. 3 goals from him in the 23rd and 68th minute sealed the win. Rodak, that's not right at all. It was John Taylor. I don't know why it says Rodak. It was John Taylor that got the goal back in 77th minute, but it ended 3-1. So good 3 points for Birmingham. They've lost 2 games so far, which is the same as West Brom, who are in second place. But 8 draws is where they have fallen down. They aren't beaten in their last 5 games, 2 wins and 3 draws. If they started turning those draws into wins, they could easily start climbing up the table very quickly. Next, we go to a very surprising result indeed, and that was Aitor Karanka's Nottingham Forest going back to his former side, Middlesbrough, and getting the victory. Joe Lolly scoring just after half-time with a beautiful goal, and then Graben scoring 13 minutes from time and secured the points. Robinson was sent off late, 10 minutes before half-time, but but nothing happened after, and a very good win for Forest. I said that they needed to start turning those draws into wins, and that's sort of what they started to do. They have drawn 7 games so far, which is the second highest behind Birmingham, but they have started to turn a few of those draws into wins. 3 wins in their last 5 games, and they are going to be a threat come the end of the season. I thought they do really well, and they are starting to bear fruit. 5th place for Forest before the international break. I think that's very good indeed. Next, we go to Aston Villa, who lost their manager in midweek. Steve Bruce was sacked by the Aston Villa board, and they travelled over to Millwall, and things went really well for Aston Villa in the opening minutes. Just after 7 minutes, Tammy Abraham opened the scoring for Villa. but that's as good as it got for them. Shane Ferguson, who had a really good game, equalised after 26 minutes, and then Tom Elliott just after half-time made it 2-1. It's going to be interesting to see who goes in at Villa, and they have a job on their hands for sure, now in 15th place. No win in their last 4 games, 20 goals conceded, which is one of the highest in the league. Second highest, I think, behind Preston. That is not very good at all. That is something that needs to be sorted out as soon as the new manager comes in. Let's talk of Henry. Let's talk of Dean Smith. Rui Farrier is very high. David Moyes. I'm not sure which way they'll go, but they've got a couple of weeks to sort things out. Then when they come back, they have Swansea at home. That's a game that they'll be looking to get 3 points from when the new manager is in, which he definitely will be by then. Millwall, a very important win that lifts them outside of the relegation zone into 20th on 10 points. That was their first win for ages, so really important 3 points there. To a surprising result, Norwich, they have been in fine form, 4 wins out of 5 from the last 5 games, but unfortunately that run has now come to an end at the hands of Stoke. It wasn't for the lack of trying for the Canaries. They were definitely the better side. 69% possession, 16 goal attempts to 6 of Stoke. But the vital goal was Stoke's. Tim Closer hitting it into his own net. And that was the goal that sealed the win. Stoke, they absorbed the pressure and they thoroughly will be pleased with their performance. So that's 2 wins out of 2 from their last 2 after really struggling. They are now in 14th place and they are just 3 points off the playoffs. So I felt like if they didn't get those 2 wins from their 2 that they've just played, he would be sacked. But now Stoke have Birmingham at home in their next game. A win there could see them really rocket up the table, and then things are starting to go a little bit better. But it is a big result for Stoke. Norwich drop out of the playoffs into 9th place. Preston absolutely hammered Wigan 4-0. A result I didn't see coming. Barkhausen opened the scoring after 17 minutes. Pearson was booked after half an hour for a very horrible challenge on Nick Powell. Lucky he didn't see red. Callum Robinson made it 2-0 before Gibson was sent off for a horrible challenge on Pearson. Gallagher scored a penalty after Nemecha was fouled. Looked very harsh. And then Dan Burn scored an own goal to make it 4-0. So that's their first win since opening day. So that's their first win in 10. Really important victory that lifts them off the bottom of the table into 22nd with their second win of the season. Wigan go down to 12th after being in the playoffs, just 1 point from their last 9 available. QPR next. QPR get a valuable point against Derby. Jack Marriott opened the scoring on his first start for Frank Lampard's side, but 3 minutes after the break, Jeff Cameron equalised. This game was pretty end-to-end. There was a lot of chances for both teams. Derby probably had the better, but a draw seems to be a fair result. And this isn't the first time they have struggled with a side that they should be beating. They lost to Bolton. They lost to Rotherham. I think they lost at Millwall as well. Now they've drawn at QPR. If they turn those into wins, then they would be probably top of the league. They need to start turning results against the bottom sides into wins away from home. That's where they're really struggling. Good point for QPR. They are now in 18th place. After a horrible start, they've really started to turn things around. Next, we go to the new table toppers, and that is Sheffield United. A team that lost their opening 2 games and I thought would struggle, but they've really turned things around. It was a tight game. There wasn't a lot between the sides, but McGoldrick scored a penalty in the 70th minute, and that sealed all 3 points. Overall, it was pretty even. Hull will be very disappointed they didn't get something from this game, and now, because of wins elsewhere, are now bottom of the league. which they will be very, very disappointed. Just 8 points picked up so far by Hull City. Sheffield United, 4 wins on the bounce in the Championship. They have Derby away next, which will be very, very tough. But 25 points, top of the league. Absolutely fantastic by Chris Wilder's men. Next, we go to Swansea and Ipswich got their first win of the season. An own goal from Donacine gave Swansea the lead, but it was Guion Edwards who came from the lower leagues who equalised. I think he's signed from Peterborough. And then Van der Horn scored an own goal. Really, really nice header that. Made it 2-1 to Ipswich. Selina scored a very, very good goal. Really, really tidy finish. And it looked like Ipswich were going to be denied once again after being in front. But a header from Trevor Chalabar from a corner, and that ended up in the net to make it 3-2. I thought the goalkeeper should have done a lot better. I think he should have saved that. But a massive, 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 massive 3 points for Ipswich. Their first win of the season. That puts them on to 9 points. Just one defeat in their last 5 games now. But it's 3 draws. They've drawn 6 games, which is the third highest. If they turn those into draws against Bolton, draws against Birmingham, and draws against Brentford, you know, they could start turning these draws into wins. I think they'll be fine. But very, very, very important 3 points. Next game is QPR at home. Could they make it 2 wins on the bounce? 2 wins on the bounce would probably see them out of the relegation zone, which would be absolutely amazing for Paul Hurst's men. Next, we go to West Brom. West Brom, despite an early setback, Leonardo Bacuna scoring a very, very nice finish out of 6 minutes. And that's how it remained at half-time. However, whatever Darren Moore said in his half-time team talk worked a treat. 2 goals from Dwight Gale, 1 from Harvey Barnes, which is a very nice finish, and then Kyle Bartley rounding it off for a 4-1 win. Absolutely fantastic by West Brom. They are second, 24 points, 4 wins out of their last 5, which is the exact same as Sheffield United, just 1 point behind them. 31 goals scored already. Absolutely insane that they've managed to score that many already. And it's by far the highest. The highest I can see here is 21. So that is absolutely... Oh, so 22 Leeds have. That's bonkers that they've scored that amount of goals already. They could score over 100 this season if they continue the way they have. Absolutely fantastic by Darren Moore's side. Final game on Saturday was Bolton versus Blackburn. Bradley Dack scoring the only goal of the game. Bradley Dack has been a player that has impressed me over the last few years, and I'm not surprised that he's doing so well in the Championship. In the second half, Bolton rallied and they had chances. Probably deserved something out of the game. But right at the end, a foul on Doidge was given as a penalty. But the linesman put his flag up. He said it was offside. And looking back on it, what a decision that was. Absolutely fantastic that he saw that. And a really, really, really good call by the linesman. So overall, I think a draw would have been a fairer result. But Blackburn will be delighted with that win. That puts them up into 10th place. Bolton, they can continue their slippy slide after some really, really good results at the start of the season. Just 1 win in their last 5 games. That puts them down to 16th. They are 6 points clear of the relegation zone, but with their next game being Rotherham away, they need to win that. If not, they could start getting sucked into the relegation battle. There was a game on Sunday as well. Bristol City versus Sheffield Wednesday. And it was Lucas João that got the 3 points for Sheffield Wednesday, striking 2 in 3 minutes in the 64th, 66th minute to give all 3 points to Sheffield Wednesday. Matty Taylor did score a penalty 10 minutes from time, but they held on and got the win. Personally, from what I saw, I think it would have been a fairer result if it had been a draw, but that doesn't matter to Sheffield Wednesday. That 1 defeat in their last 5 probably should have had more wins in that time. They definitely should have beaten West Brom for sure, and with that win they would have been, in 5th place. Keep pace with the top 4 so far. Bristol City, they are now down in 13th after a really, really amazing start. No win in their last 5 games. When they come back from the international break, they go to Brentford, which will be very, very tough indeed. and you know they are starting to slip down the table. So that is the Championship roundup. So here, let's have a quick look at the table. Sheffield United and West Brom lead the way. The 4 in the playoffs are Leeds, Middlesbrough, Nottingham Forest and Sheffield Wednesday. Just outside the playoffs on 18 points we have Brentford, Derby County, Norwich City and Blackburn Rovers. Down the bottom, Hull are now bottom after wins for Preston and Ipswich. Ipswich and Preston make up the bottom 3. Just outside we have Reading, Millwall and Rotherham. And then there is there's a 3-point gap between Rotherham and the next team, Queen's Park Rangers, who are on 14th point. So there's starting to be a gap between the bottom sort of 5, and there's starting to be no points between 18th and first, just 11 points. It's nuts how close that is. Just 8 points between 5th and 18th. So it's really, really hotting up. A couple of wins and you'll be in the playoffs, and a couple of defeats and you'll be down in mid-table. So it's been an amazing, amazing season so far, and it's only going to get better. Thanks so much for watching this video until the end. It really means a lot to me. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you press the like button. Subscribe if you are new. My name is Mike, and I will see you soon.